The United States will bring new charges against El Chapito, El Mayito Flaco, El Pelo Chino, El Chapo Isidro, y El Músico. On May 13, 2025, the U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, announced that federal drug trafficking charges were pending against all alleged leaders of the Beltrán Leyva faction, Fausto Isidro Meza Flores, alias Chapo Isidro, Oscar Manuel Gastélum Iribe, alias El Músico, and Pedro Inzunza Noriega, alias Sagitario, as well as several leaders of the Sinaloa cartel, including Iván Archivaldo Guzmán Salazar, alias El Chapito, Ismael Zambada Sicairos, alias Mayito Flaco, and José Gil Caro Quintero, alias El Pelo Chino. This information was released the same day in a statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of California, which includes San Diego and Imperial counties of the DOJ, which filed on May 13, 2025, the first formal indictment for narco-terrorism and material support for terrorism in connection with the trafficking of massive quantities of fentanyl, cocaine, methadone, and heroin in the United States against Pedro Inzunza Noriega, a.k.a. Sagitario. I'm not doing all his fucking names. A 62-year-old former leader of the Beltrán Leyva cartel, and his son, Pedro Inzunza Coronel, a.k.a. Pichon, or Pájaro, a 33-year-old native of Los Mochis. The latter is believed to be one of the current leaders of the Sinaloa criminal organization, along with Oscar Manuel Gastélum Iribe, alias El Músico, and Fausto Isidro Meza Flores, alias El Chapo Isidro, a former trusted agent of Arturo Beltrán Leyva, alias El Balbas, and also the alleged leader of Los Mazatlecos. Hit the like button, y'all. Furthermore, the indictment filed by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of California includes the following defendants under case number whatever. They're described as leaders of one of the world's largest and most sophisticated fentanyl production networks on behalf of the Beltrán Leyva faction of the Sinaloa cartel, said Adam Gordon, head of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of California, during a mass press conference in San Diego. Since its inception, the Beltrán Leyva organization has been considered one of the most violent drug trafficking organizations in Mexico, engaging in shootouts, unalivings, snatchings, physical manipulation, and harvesting of drug unalivings to sustain their operations, the U.S. federal official added. Something was lost in translation there. Sagitario and his son are charged with drug trafficking. What's the difference between drug trafficking and narcotics trafficking? Narcotics trafficking, money laundry, and the Beltrán, as leaders of the Beltrán Leyva organization, a powerful and violent faction of the Sinaloa cartel, considered the largest fentanyl production network in the world, the DOJ said in a statement. 5 other Beltrán Leyva organization leaders are charged with drug trafficking and money laundering. The indictment is a direct result of Trompito's executive order, which designated the Sinaloa cartel as a foreign terrorist organization, and the subsequent designation of the same by the Secretary of State on February 20th, 2025, the U.S. government detailed. The Sinaloa cartel is a complex and dangerous organization. It is those things, right? But is it still those things? Is it still those things in the sense that, are they not bleeding themselves right now with all this war and all this talking and all of this shit? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a complex and dangerous terrorist organization, and dismantling it requires an innovative and decisive legal response. Its days of brutalizing the American people without consequence are over. We will seek life sentences for these terrorists, said the U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi, quoted in the statement. The initiatives of Operation Take Back America reflect the reality that narco-terrorists operate like a cancer within a state. They spread violence, corruption, and fear. Left unchecked, their growth will lead to the destruction of public order. This indictment reflects justice when the Department of Justice, along with its law enforcement partners, bring its full influence to bear against the Sinaloa cartel, said U.S. Attorney Gordon. These charges highlight the tireless efforts of transnational criminal organizations like the Sinaloa cartel to flood our communities with lethal drugs, said Sean Gibson, special agent in charge of Homeland Security investigations in San Diego. The BLO, under the leadership of Inzunza Noriega, is allegedly responsible for some of the largest rug seizures of Fetty Wap and Brocane bound for the United States in history. Everything is the largest in history. These nuts are the largest in history, man. Enough with the largest in history bullshit already, you know what I mean? Their drugs not only destroy lives and communities, but also threaten our national security. The law enforcement actions against the Noriegas reaffirm our commitment to dismantling this dangerous narco-terrorist group and combating rug trafficking. According to court documents, since its inception, the Beltrán Leyva faction has been considered one of the most... That's all they do. I feel like they don't give us information. They just keep saying, they're the biggest. And then a couple paragraphs later, they're the largest. And then a couple paragraphs later, they're the scariest. Like, come on. The Beltrán Leyva faction controls numerous territories and plazas throughout Mexico, including Tijuana, and operates with violent impunity, trafficking lethal rugs, threatening communities, and attacking key officials, all while obtaining millions of dollars for their criminal activities, the U.S. government stated. Sahaterio collaborates closely with his son to aggressively produce and traffic Fetty Wap to the United States. Well, no shit. In recent years, they've trafficked tens of thousands. The biggest! El Músico, if I'm not mistaken, is somebody that helped the twins at one point. And Chapo Isidro, I guess, got tight with one of them, but I think he was part of the snatching of the other one, if I recall correctly. But there you go. These terrorists are being sought after by the United States government. All right? The ink is dry on the paper.
You don't want no problems.
Hit the like button if you have yet to do so. Ovidio's family, including Chapo's ex-wife, go from most wanted to guests of the U.S., and we'll leave the light on for you. Huh? United States, Motel 8. All you got to do is cooperate. Bars. 5 years after the first failed operation to capture him, Ovidio Guzman Lopez was extradited to the United States, and now 17 members of his family have surrendered to the FBI after negotiations took place. The son of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman and one of the more visible leaders of Los Chapitos went from being one of the heirs to the Sinaloa Cartel rug empire to being held at Chicago MDC to cooperating with the United States government and providing information on organized crime in Mexico. And providing information on organized crime in Mexico. He was arrested twice but was released the first time in 2019 following a near takeover of Culiacan by Cartel gunmen with shootouts, roadblocks, and several unalivings. During his capture in January 2023, 10 soldiers and 19 hammermen were unalived. The second Culiacanazo also included hammermen targeting commercial airplanes. In order to shut down air traffic at the airport in Culiacan as Ovidio was being transferred out of the region following his arrest. Wow. You on an airplane minding your business. Your family's on an airplane minding their business. Some dude trying to break out of jail trying to shoot your shit down. It's crazy. Probably easier to get them here than over there. Caught off guard. What do you mean? Get the family? Grab the family? I don't know, because they ain't going to jail. They're here for protection, as far as I understand. Upper Echelon said, wait, he's cooperating? I think that's what it says right here. It says being held at a Chicago MDC to cooperating with the United States government and providing information on organized crime in Mexico. So, yeah, he's definitely cooperating. He's going to spill all the beans or they're going to deport his family back. That was my thought. My thought was he already spilled the beans or they would have left their ass there. Bro, over 100 people unalived in each of them. That's what I'm saying. But how many of them people was just regular people? Not police, not in the game. Not to say that, the police, had it coming or nothing, but, people respected El Mayo more than Los Chapitos. They didn't earn that spot. It was given to them. Them dudes are silver spoon kids. After being extradited last year, Ovidio remained in Chicago MDC awaiting his trial. Then on July 23, 2024, he was no longer in BOP custody. Later confirmed he was in protective custody with U.S. Marshals. 3 days later, his brother Joaquin joined him in the U.S. on a private jet that landed in a small airport outside of El Paso, Texas. It's suspected that at least 2 police officers working for El Mayo as bodyguards and prominent politician Hector Cuen were unalive when his brother Joaquin orchestrated the snatching and surrendering of Ismael Zambada, leader of the Sinaloa cartel and former partner of their father El Chapo. Since then, hundreds have been unalived and even more snatched and physically manipulated during an internal war between factions of the Sinaloa cartel. Now, his wife, children, mother, and a dozen other relatives are safe inside of the U.S. Guilty plea planned. Since October 2024, Ovidio has not been in federal prison, and rumors of deals being negotiated were later confirmed. On May 5th of this year, it was announced that Ovidio Guzman Lopez will plead guilty to federal drug trafficking charges he faces in the U.S. according to a new court filing. The leaked file indicates that Ovidio Guzman will appear at a plea hearing on July 9th in federal court in Chicago. The court requested a copy of the plea agreement indicating a deal has been reached in the case. Oh shit. We got video, y'all. They're in the building. What's with the black shades? We can see you. We can still see you. You can see me? At least other rug lords know what it's like to have nothing, then go to jail back to having nothing. Yeah, these guys don't got that part. Where are the Chapito fans at? Are they adding a rat to the slice of pizza? I don't know, man. Everybody, they like this. They do the LeBron. I don't think he's talking, so I don't know. Let's be honest. The only reason why the family is dangerous because they have so many enemies, because they unalive so many innocent people and so many of their own friends. Ovidio's family arrives. Mexican Secretary Omar Garcia Harfuch confirmed that 17 relatives of Ovidio Guzman voluntarily surrendered to U.S. authorities. The family members were greeted by FBI and U.S. Marshal agents after crossing the San Isidro border crossing on the Tijuana-San Diego border. Their arrival was first reported by Luis Chaparro, stating the family reportedly arrived with several suitcases, at least 2 brand name suitcases for each member. Oh, we got to point that out, brand name. And together they carried more than $70,000 in cash. The family landed from Culiacan, Tijuana, and went to the San Isidro border crossing where FBI agents were allegedly waiting for them. Ovidio's family surrendered to U.S. authorities. It's very clear that they entered into a negotiation or opportunity with the Department of Justice. They were already waiting for them in the United States. He said that none of the family members were being pursued by Mexican authorities and that the government of Trompito has to share information with Mexican prosecutors, something it has not yet done. I don't know if I believe that, but if that is true, he's basically on some, I'm going to do what I want. Mind your business. Get out of my face. That's what he's on. Damn. Why they got mugshots though? Griselda Lopez Perez, ex-wife of El Chapo and mother of Ovidio and Joaquin Guzman, was designated as an operator of the Sinaloa cartel by U.S. Treasury Department and was sanctioned by OFAC in 2012. The press release stated that the OFAC was designating Griselda Lopez Perez for her role in the operations of Chapo's drug trafficking organization, including her efforts to assist him in evading justice. Additionally, Griselda Lopez Perez provided material support to the drug trafficking activities of her husband. President Claudia Sheinbaum requested more information from the United States and questioned the U.S. policy of not negotiating with terrorists. Yeah, that sounds right. After the Trompito administration declared Mexican cartels, including the Sinaloa cartel, as terrorist organizations. Both Ovidio and Joaquin have been charged and designated as Sinaloa cartel leaders. Their mother Griselda was sanctioned as being part of the cartel as well. There you have it, y'all. All you have to do is, you don't have to, you know how they say do it the right way? No. If you want to cross into this country without being a citizen of this country, all you have to do is have a son that's got enough information to cooperate with the United States government. And as far as they're concerned, there are no borders after that. Whoever doesn't think they're snitching is just flat out clueless or just dumb. Listen, it's not. We're past clueless. We're past dumb. It's simple denial, confirmation bias. It's just people not wanting to face the truth. And truth is truth. And that's my belief. Not my truth. Not your truth. You can make all the reasons and explanations that you want. Truth is truth. It's objective. It's not subjective. It's what happened. As a human being, you have the ability to deny that shit. Everyone snitches. 95% of my friends work at courthouse, but since most people just regular, we never hear about them snitching. It just is what it is. Because everybody like to say the old school, well, stop it. The old school is talking right now. Now, if you want to go older than that, well, back then there wasn't all the, DEA programs that you could jump into. Jail. Ricky Bobby straight to jail. What food did he ask for before he started snitching? Man, I don't know. He asked to see if his father could get an extra pillow or some shit. Like, Joaquin is going to pay for those bodies. Joaquin's going to pay for what bodies? Sammy the Bull is out and he unalived 19 people. Well, that's why I say, Sir El Cid, that the United States government don't care about unalivers. They don't care about people's lives. They care about headlines, money, and being able to say that they did this and they did that. Because you can unalive 100 people. They do a deal with you. You home in 5. You chilling. You ride off into the sunset. There you go. My dad sold to an informant in the 1970s. That's what I'm saying, though. He sold to an informant. But I'm saying, was he able to make a deal? Was he able to rat somebody out? I mean, I'm sure they had rats. I'm sure they had snitching back then. I'm just saying now they got full-on programs for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like Job Corps and shit. You can make money, all that shit. The bodies that they did to bring, Joaquin's going to pay for those bodies. So they're going to be like, yeah, you did a good thing, but man, bro, look at what you did to do it. We got to get you for that. Let's not forget they kidnapped over 200 families of soldiers during that Culiacanazo. I need to learn more about that Culiacanazo. I need to find a real documentary. I know the HBO Max one came out. I still ain't seen it yet. I think back when the laws on drugs weren't bad, snitching wasn't really worth it. There you go. That might be a thing. That makes absolute sense. Back when laws on drugs weren't so bad, snitching wasn't really worth it. I don't think it matters what they got to offer. They never getting out of prison. All the blood they got on their hands. They ain't trying to get out of prison. They trying to get their family in the U.S. They trying to get a better pillow. They trying to get, lower sentence. Now, Ovidio, as far as Ovidio and Joaquin, I don't have a doubt that they'll be in the streets. Why? Because Vicentillo's in the street. And Chino Anthrax was in the street. And, all these other guys that got just a couple of years and kept it moving. You know what I mean? I won't be surprised if any of them are out of jail in 10, 11 years. We come back here and be like, guess who's home? Laws got bad in 87, 88. Crack. KB8 said the pillow joke is great. And the last one it was chicken, but today is pillow. One softer pillow. But that's what it is. That's the irony. That's why people be mad at me. They be in the comments, you just been a nerd your whole life. You don't understand. Like, who the f*** are you, dog? You know what I'm saying? You understand? They told you what's happening? Shy, this, that, the other. Why? Because I'm saying that these dudes that had no problem physically manipulating people, slowly unaliving people, these guys that had no problems doing that, have the nerve to argue about discomfort. And then criminals say, but Shy, you don't think they should have human rights? Yeah, sure. But did they offer up human rights? They didn't. So what they crying about? People get mad at me. Like it's not logic. It's just logic as far as I'm concerned. They'll be home sooner. Look at that. Who was it I was talking to about? Oh, Split That Pie. Was it Split That Pie? They never come home. Upper Echelon thinks they'll be home sooner than them other guys. Sooner than Upper Echelon. You think they're coming home sooner than you and your brother did? Less than 12 and a half? Shout out 323G on his chaining day. Salutes. With these deals being cut, I wonder if the other brothers will come forward and turn themselves in. Who else at the top is left to be used as a sacrificial lamb? It's time to start writing over the companies to everybody. This yours, dog. Go on, handle that. But I don't know if they're going to do that. They'll have their own podcast. That's it. Sir El Cid, that is it right there, dog. They'll have their own podcast when they get out telling everything. That's it. That's the answer. They might unalive in it because they know they done. Everyone will say they were gangsters and forget about all the snitching they did. They'll look like martyrs. They'll be martyrs. Sympathized. They'll be unalive by year's end. It's going longer than we thought. I think whoever is still in it is in it for the long run. That's it, right? They're going to ride it out. Wheels fall off. Fuck it.